If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull, I just got it nice and yellow, and no drinking on the boat, and no joyriding either.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye. See, that makes me not want to lend you my skiff. On a boat, rocking leads to capsizing. That there is an absolutely 100% rock-free skiff. Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just feel...
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
What? Fine. Let's blast Sad FM then.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. And the trees are green and overhanging, feather light, free and everlasting. And the trees are green and overhanging, feather light, free and everlasting. Want to be free.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance. There is very little wind here today. The ghost is standing still. You look at your arms, then the cliffs above you.
Let's go.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain. From enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
Cleaning out the rooms. What if you didn't lose your memory? What if something in Martinez came and stored it all away, for you to slowly open one box at a time, so you can choose which parts to keep? Keep almost none of it. Only the flowers on the windowsill, only the distant sound of a radio. Lose all the actors, the dark shadows, leave only the still lifes, the blissful distant wash of waves. If everybody knew, you never did, she'll be coming soon. That is all. The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 meters away. On the islet, there is almost no wind, just the light movement of air through the reeds. Bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long dried leaves chafing against each other. The great ghost of the air is holding its breath. A silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree. The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand, the low tide filtered through its grains, a bird tending to its feathers. A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow, a big building. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. Bulrushes motionless. A jitter, a sound impatient to happen, but not yet in this world. You hear some kind of limb fidget, producing an imperceptible tick. No. It's just your imagination. You can't hear such things.
Yes?
This is where a lesser man would stop to think about the pain shooting up his right leg and into his groin.
It is. Is that why we are stopping?
The lieutenant nods inside. An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Wait, haven't you heard this before? The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it. Downstairs, somewhere?
The tank is far from full, but there should be enough inside to keep it going for a day. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures. Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Not that you can tell. This is a digest of someone who's dead bored. Most of it is for entertainment purposes, fittingly right next to the radiola on the floor. Maybe it's a little old-fashioned. There's a nude mag. More than that, you can't say. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. You didn't realize how tired you were. Your body is still nowhere near healed. The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. Sleep. Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She seems to be in a hurry. Okay, don't say you need to talk right away. Melt the ice first. This way you're already talking. But you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean.
Hey. I'm doing really good, actually. Both professionally and romantically. I've come to a fulfilling and peaceful period in my life. Well, how are you doing, Harry? Well, I'm in my head too. We're all in our heads. Sometimes, not as often as I used to. So much time has passed. More than it seems here.
This is everything I always warned you about.
I'm going to Morova, to live there in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime. I'm sorry. I was heading to the aerodrome. I just don't have time to...
She means she doesn't have time to tend to your emotions. She sighs and looks over her shoulder. What are you doing? Stop saying things like that.
Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality. Oh, this. This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over her shoulder, silence. Her nuptial gown flows in the wind, wraps around her holy body.
Anyway. No, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not... It's okay. No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. I have tickets for the 10:20 flight to Morova. We don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us. Our love. Our unborn daughters. It's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Revachol and you. And you have to be alone. In hell. Forever. That's just the way it is.
With your feet trembling from the steps you took, tepid and fearful, you stand against her, her body close to you, radiating warmth. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back. Feels like soft fuzz. A bird covered her chest, rising like a pillow. Warm exhalations against the side of your mouth. Her tender soul hidden, distant. This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested it, and you should not have listened to me. The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air. Her hand does not return the grip. Her body is rigid. A current of unease courses through it. The moment is ending. She is going to move her face away from yours. Trying hard. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I feel.
No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you... I'm pregnant. Of course not. I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. Poverty-stricken fuck. Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions. Let's talk about something.
No, this has to end. More questions. Ask more. She doesn't know what to say.
Yes, okay. I'm glad. It doesn't sound like you're better at all, Harry. It doesn't even sound like you're a moralist. It just sounds like you want to win me back or something. I don't want you to try that anymore, okay? It's too sad. I need to go.
Total annihilation. We got annihilated, Harry. It wasn't about responsibility at all. It was always only about you having no power at all. Over her, yourself, anything. That's why they didn't take you on that airship. You're insane without her. No, don't say it. Don't beg. It will only make her go.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already...
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that.
No. That would only be painful and dull. At light, life, culture. It's so much better than here. Everything here reminds me of you and the horrible times we had. I have to wipe it all off me and be clean again. I want to be a good person again. Not this. Not that was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and I'm happier for it. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I won't see you, but you will see. Oh, Harry. This is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago? Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts, I'm suffocatingly beautiful. Oh yes, this is real darkness. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? I did not want to wake you. Perhaps I should have? Was it a job dream?
The lieutenant nods solemnly. I understand. We've all been through similar things. It can be overcome.
Okay.
He's still worried. You must... The Insulindian miracle. It's easy. You know the poem by heart because you were taught it at school. It is one of the Volta Dolmar mantras repeated on the voyage that lead to the discovery of the Insulindian Isola. And the words mean nothing will be changed about the light. Colors like gray and brown, all printed on top of each other. I found a blank white spot. All the others looked up. What a beautiful day. What beautiful weather. But all I heard was the printing machine? What strange words to celebrate a new world? There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
This looks like a good place to aim from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns, and an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
Could be a coincidence. Or the same person has visited Land's End and here. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10, the doomed commercial area. The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags, its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop, sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that,
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure. I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest. In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere. Don't beat yourself up, officer. We did not put guns in their hands or get them drunk.
the lieutenant pauses. Regret comes over him.
We will make up for it. Here. I feel it. Where?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says, he feels uncomfortable suddenly.
We should move now.
A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just with a bottle in your hand. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, always. Perhaps there's someone there. In front of the video rental, on the corner, at the crossing, smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal. Maybe. Yes, cold and oh fuck, yes. Go there in your head. It's been days since you thought about her. A week. No. When... see a small metal door nested.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable.
The heavy metal.
Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open? Alright, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it up.
The heavy metal. Green paint flecked the keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. They terminate here. I think, yes. Let's see.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in. A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl. No, it's more than that. There's something there, waiting.
After you. So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here. I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke.
Don't be. I have a gun.
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains.
I did. And you opened it. How? I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. It's a Triangong 446.
A Samuran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Signal commune. Military aid. You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk, white from the ball.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
And what rank would that be, dog? A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. So it's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Signal. The rifle's in a shabby state. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does. The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession in time.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my terminal surrender.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in '18. Then I was an E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. 43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He nods. But he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Maire inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting for her to return.
Her who?
Girl child, revolution. Always. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession would lighten the load.
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men. You haven't seen it. The face of who you serve, naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Some kind of great terror, worse than you've ever seen.
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know. That the bourgeois are not human. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it death blow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Iblis. The black-eyed angel. How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stew, too.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
I have been running out of that stuff.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted.
It's the little joys. The dark joke. The sunshiny day. Morphine. There's nothing to look over. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno? At least you know it. The traders of this city turned the lights back on in the 30s, after the fighting stopped. Ruins, glittering in the dark like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however. The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International. The enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans ce land. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideal trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
He was like a cleric, a shepherd.
No, the opposite of that. A future human.
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're part of the meat shield. The human shield that surrounds the fascists while they kill and rape. That's what you are.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding...
The old man spits into the fire pit. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism.
There's nothing serious in this world. I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the Commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Tear into him. Pile it on him. Everything you got on him. The more, the better. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You have been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You need medical aid.
I'm ready to die.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this.
Murder.
Like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got, and nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember? Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Dross.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is called Sansarique, and the size is 42 to 44.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Simpler? No. This is another. The lieutenant raises his brow. What are you doing? He's thinking. Not now. Stop yourself.
People change shoes, detective. It was you. You were there, weren't you? What were you doing? Some kind...
Trying to rack your brains. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last...
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly. Nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, It's already here. Wash the filth away. They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Classier.
He repeats the name with care. He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
With the victim. You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer, armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood, beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop eating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One...
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase. And I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
There, a hot flash of rage almost carries the smile away.
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own, and so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you confessed?
Yes.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it, then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift. Start with when he first saw him. It will give him a chance to ramble.
3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley. Her honor guard came in tow.
Joyce. He means Joyce.
Wrinkled up whore. Black sexual morals are a bourgeois ploy. As to pederasty, the party legalized it in '04. My party, not your liberal masters. So don't you sermonize me, you racist shithole. It's still bourgeois when the bourgeois does it, fiddling with their sexual organs.
Some strange glandular process takes place in him at the thought, like yeast rising. And anger too, in addition to loneliness.
They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout. Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing, sloppy and drunk. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and masked phalangs weren't conscripts. Boys like us. They were whites. All they know is to destroy and hurt. Barely alive. They like to kill while they're on their drugs. After the landing, in the burning years, I would take shots at them. End them. The worst ones, if I had a bullet to spare. I could see they've returned now to show their real face. The face they don't dare show their bourgeois voters back on Mundi with their families and polyester clothes. Them fucking. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second. Writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. And now he longs to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
You stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf. Airport, see you tomorrow, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air. Burning.
You're delusional. There's nothing to see in the soul of the bourgeois woman. It's the same as the surface. Sick hedonism and desperation. The world is insane. Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Feltherre building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Feltherre building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she was on, right there. She needed it just to move. Her passport and tickets to Feltherre. And from there to Cachet Brut. After she was gone.
Did you keep what was in it?
No. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her. Also, a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
It didn't say Clausia in there. It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Feltherre. I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revishal's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio. I'm not blind, am I?
He must have climbed to the roof, maybe.
I have my ways.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling in rags. Those were your footprints. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinet.
Thank God, the lieutenant is picking it up.
That Nook too?
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the one more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an anti-sub.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope. There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like...
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye. No. I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her... The day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
It's as if something put the thought there, to leave the flowers.
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.
A sudden pang of rage.
If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line. One more down.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? Locked up with your masters, like I'll be. Maybe we'll meet? She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, like she knew. Staring at the island. The fort. Like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Across the harbor, on the south bank of the river Esperance, the air stands still outside Precinct 57, a two-story box of duraluminum near the gates to Terminal H. Inside a cell, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol all at once, while two men in brown suits wave ICP badges at a young policeman. She hears the door open and knows it's over. They've come for her. Outside, it's springtime. The river flows blue and green into the Bay of Martinez. There, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, two police officers and one special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. The ruins of a sea fort stick out of the water, built by Philippe II, reappropriated by the Commune. then lost in the landing. He's there, doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vicmair points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstam is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back. Good luck, Harry, she thinks.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done, but you could get more out of him. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
I ain't going.